What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 305, powered by the one and only Golden Eagle Energy Drinks. Get your Golden Eagle Energy Drinks at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. They've sponsored all season 4 of the podcast, so show them love for showing us love. Now, let's get into the news immediately. I don't really have much to say. I am working on the documentary, The Diddy $1 Million Hit. Near its final stages, I was hoping to get it done by the time you guys heard this podcast, but just been having a lot of personal things happen as well in my life that I've had to deal with. And, you know, these things come up at the worst times, but that's just life. I can't control that. So let's go over the articles. There's a lot of interesting news that's come out. And first, we're going to follow up with PnB Rock's murder trial. And his fiancee decided to take the stand and talk about the day when he got shot and killed. So let's go over our article. PnB Rock's fiancee, Stephanie, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, it's super long, gave a chilling testimony this week at the trial of the men accused of orchestrating the rapper's murder. Stephanie took the stand on Tuesday, July 30th, 1 week into the trial for the September 2022 killing, and recounted the final moments of Rock's life. According to Rolling Stone, she explained that the shooter came right up to them and she didn't realize what was happening at first. She said this: "He came to our table right away. I thought it was a fan asking for a picture until I saw the gun. He said, 'If you don't give me the jewelry, I'm going to blow her head off.' He had the gun on my man's face, on it, touching it. Though," she said, "Rock put his hands up, that wasn't enough. He got shot. He pushed me to the wall and threw me under the table," she explained. "The gunman just kept shooting. I was telling him, 'Stop shooting him. Are you trying to kill him?'" Stephanie says the 17-year-old then started removing Rock's jewelry and even aimed his gun at her at one point when she attempted to grab her phone. He then fled, and she tried to save her man by putting pressure on his wounds, but it was too late. Upon leaving court on Tuesday, she told the outlet of Rock, "He's heroic, he's a hero. Other men would never." So he basically risked his life to save her life by pushing her under the table. And that's, any man that loves his woman is going to do that. Any man should do that. As a man, you're obligated to risk your life for your family. That's just the end of it, period. That's why men go to war mostly, and men, are the ones that have to deal with a lot of the harsher things in life. The teen accused gunman's father, Freddie Turon, is also charged in the star's murder, which took place at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Los Angeles, as is another man, Tremont Jones. So we talked about this. But yeah, that's a wild, wild recount. I was expecting a little bit more detail, but so it turns out he put his hands up. He actually gave up the jewelry. I mean, he put his hands up. I guess the guy felt like that wasn't enough. I mean, he is 17 years old, so his frontal cortex isn't fully developed. So he's not really thinking straight at 17. I wouldn't be really, I wasn't as dumb to rob somebody and, risk my whole freedom for a couple $100,000, whatever the fuck his jewelry is worth, probably 30, 40,000, 50,000, I don't know, whatever amount. I would never risk my freedom for that. But I do know that, you make dumb decisions as a teenager. You don't really think things through as much as you would. And now I'm 29 years old. I think things a lot through before I even do them. And that's everybody in life. Most people mature at 25, 26, 27, around there. And usually what you are at that age is what you become for the rest of your life, for the most part. So if you're below 25 right now, try to develop really good habits so that, they translate to when you finally are fully matured. That way you can, translate that for the rest of your life and do well. So that's my advice to anybody under 25 listening to this podcast, because do the right thing, get in a great routine. That's some things that I kind of fucked up on that I wish I would have gotten a better routine in terms of working out. Working out, had I gotten into it a lot earlier, I would have been in better shape right now. I wouldn't be, I'm not super skinny, but I'm also, I'm on a skinnier realm. Had I gotten to more of a routine at a younger age, would have been better. Now it's a lot harder to get in a routine, and it's going to get harder as the years go on. So I'm trying to get in a routine right now and hopefully stay in that routine. But yeah, develop good habits before you're 25, man. But yeah, 17-year-old, apparently PnB Rock put his hands up, but he felt that wasn't enough and decided to basically kill him, which is wild recount. I'm sure that's hard for her to recount that stuff. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted as the trial goes on. I'm sure there's going to be new details revealed about the shooter, about PnB Rock, whatever. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. Dame Dash's Roc-A-Fella shares are being auctioned. This is nothing new. We've covered this quite a few times, but now it's official. So let's go over the article. Dame Dash's stake in Roc-A-Fella Records will be officially auctioned off by the U.S. Marshals to make good on his outstanding debt. TMZ obtained documents on Thursday, August 1st, revealing Dame's 33.3% interest in the famed record label will be sold off at a public auction in New York City on August 29th. The purpose of the auction is specified as collecting judgment, which stems from the $823,000 he owes to movie producer Josh Weber for copyright infringement and defamation over the 2016 film Dear Frank. Weber's lawyers, Christopher Brown, will be an active participant as the doc stated bidders will have to email him to register for the auction. Additionally, the minimum bid can't be less than $1.2 million, and a deposit of 20% must be put down at the time of the sale, which equates to at least $240,000. Jay-Z's classic debut, Reasonable Doubt, is among the assets that will be included, which Dame Dash himself seemed to hint as just of last month, which he posted on Instagram. Last month he posted that. The embattled Roc-A-Fella Records co-founder took to Instagram on July 19th and posted a photo of Reasonable Doubt. Yeah, we talked about this. But yeah, continuing on, Dame Dash's Roc-A-Fella shares may not be as desirable as they sound. So this was about 2 days later after that post. Dame Dash's stake in Roc-A-Fella Records is set to be auctioned off by U.S. Marshals later this month. And though it includes Jay-Z's classic Reasonable Doubt, it appears that all that glitters isn't really gold. As previously reported, Dame's 33.3% interest, blah, blah, blah. We talked about this. However, TMZ has learned that the sale may not be as enticing as it sounds, as the purchaser will only be a minority owner and have no official say in the company, because all decisions require a majority vote. The worst part, however, is they'd only be set to make money back from their shares for a limited amount of time. There's also an expiration date on master ownership for the company, which means revenue and the only asset doesn't have many years left, a source told the outlet. Earlier this year, after a judge ordered Dame to sell his shares, both Jay and Biggs objected on the basis that the company bylaws mandate that the board of directors, blah, 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 blah. We talked about this millions of times. Basically, if you know basic albums, so Reasonable Doubt came out in 1996, I believe. Reasonable Doubt. We are in 2024, so 2006, 2016, 2026 would be 30 years. And usually between 25 and 30 years, the masters goes back officially to the artist 100%. So let's see. How many years does it take for masters to go back to artists? Let's see. Artists hoping to reclaim their copyright ownership can do so after an initial period of 35 years. But they may begin filing that paperwork 10 years before the end of the initial period. So, yeah, I've heard stories that people get it back at 30 years, 35 years, depends on the deal, but it's around there. So basically what they're saying is it's not, if somebody buys the Dame Dash stake in Roc-A-Fella, which is 33.3%, that eventually isn't going to be worth anything because that 33.3% goes back to Jay-Z, who's the owner of the album, obviously. Reasonable Doubt. He's the artist. So they're basically saying that anybody that's going to invest in this, which would be a minimum, they said they're selling it at a minimum of $1.2 million, would hope that they would have to make that back within what? Let's just say they get the sale in 2024 done, which is auctioning in the end of 2024. Let's say 2025 up until what? 2026 would be officially 30 years. And then you got another 5 years, so 2031. Basically, 2030, 2031, somewhere around there. So you have to make the money back within 7-8 years of owning the stake. You would have to make back $1.2 million. That's if you even get it at $1.2 million, which if people are auctioning, you're not going to get it at that lowest price. That's the lowest price possible. Let's just say somebody buys it for $2 million. Within 7 to 8 years, you'd have to make back that $2 million. And then obviously some profits. So let's just say you make back $3 million out of that, $2 million that you invested, $1 million. Is that possible to make $3 million within, 2024 up until 2030, let's just say 6 years, 2031, 7 years? Yeah, it's possible, but it is a risk. So we'll see. I mean, the auction is end of August. I think they said August 29th. I read that correctly? August 29th. Yeah, something like that. So we'll see if it's worth anything, if people are willing to bet a lot more money on it, but not a good look, man. And I know there was somebody on Twitter clowning Dame Dash's Breakfast Club interview where he talks about, being your own boss and how working for another man, I could never do that. Everything that I do, I put my own money up, blah, 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 blah. Now, they were clowning saying, don't listen to Dame Dash. There's nothing wrong with working for another person. And there is nothing wrong with that. Obviously, if everyone was a boss and an owner of a company, there would be no employees. There's nothing wrong. Here's the thing, man. I've never, thankfully, well, not thankfully, but just in general, I've kind of been an employee, I guess. Not really, but I've never worked. I mean, I am an employee of YouTube, right? Google, they can fire me at any point. They say, hey, we don't deem this content community safe, whatever. I'm still, yes, I'm an employee. Yeah, I own a company, but at the end of the day, I am an employee when it comes to at least YouTube as a YouTuber. Even though I have, revenue at different platforms like Snapchat and Facebook and whatever other platforms, at the end of the day, I'm still an employee at there. But if you're an employee for a company, there's nothing wrong with that. Here's why there's nothing wrong with that. Let's say you work 9 to 5, right? 9 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. After that, you're done, right? 95% of companies, you'll be done. You won't have to do any extra work. So there's no stress on you to keep the company going, to keep the company having revenue profits. If the company goes to shit, hey, you go, you leave, find another job. It's really that simple. Now, there's obviously risk because you can get fired at any moment. You don't get to say, you don't get to do everything that you want. You don't have freedom, really. Now, in some companies, I give freedom. Anybody that's ever worked for me knows that I'm not really on people's asses. I'm not sitting there reviewing every single thing that you've done and saying, hey, I want to change this, I want to do that. I usually let people have their creative input on things because, hey, people like to let their creative juices flow. Because me, personally, if I was working for somebody, I would love for them to let me do my thing. And that's what I did. I used to have somebody on Instagram that worked for me that was a snake, turned out to be a backstabber, a person that was a bad person. And you run into people like that and when you're hiring people and you're just working with people. So it is what it is. I learned from the situation. But this person I let run the Instagram page on Diverse Mentality, do their thing. And it was rare moments where I was over the person's head and was like, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. It was very rare moments. I would let him do his thing. Being creative is a fun thing to be. And to be able to put your own input on things and do your own thing, that to me is what makes me happy in what I do because I get to be creative and do my own thing. Now, let's just say, I'll talk about this a little bit down the line, but let's just say 50 hires me at Junit Films and Television, right? I get hired at Junit Films and Television. 50 says, hey, come work for me. You get to semi-do your own thing. That's where I would have issues because I'm like, what is semi-do my own thing? Sorry, I'm getting like these kind of hiccups. 50 said, hey, you get 50% creative control. I get the other 50. Maybe I can make that work. But if it's like, hey, you get no creative control. We're going to write the script for you. You just got to do the voiceover and do the whatever, the narration, and that's it. I would not do it. I don't care what amount of money somebody's giving me. To me, money and being happy in what I do every day, I don't give a fuck. You can pay me $10 million. 50 could be like, hey, I'll give you $10 million. We do a deal. You get to narrate everything, but you don't have to worry about the research. You don't have to worry about nothing else. You just narrate. I wouldn't do it. I'm going to be 1,000,000% honest. I would not do it because to me, that's not enough. My name is being attached to that, and I want to have more creative input in what goes on in the situation. But that's, me being an owner of a business, I'm the same. I just let people do their thing creatively. Now, is there times where I'll see something, I'll be like, nah, we're going to change this. We have to do this. Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to have their input and, but, that's where we had to fall out with the Instagram guy that was running my Instagram pages. He was just being a dickhead where no matter what, he thought he was right in everything. And, at certain points, he was talking to me disrespectful and acting like he owned the company. And I'm like, dude, I pay you. I put so much money into a lot of different things that you've done. and you're over here like overshadowing me. And, that's where it gets a little tricky, where it's like, know your role in companies, know, what you're doing properly, and, just fit your role and do your thing, man. For me, though, like I said, I'm not over people's heads. I don't sit there and, oh my God, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. This is not the way. I've never been that type of person, because I know if I was in the position where somebody hired me, I would not want somebody doing that to me. Now, does everybody have their input on things? Yeah, of course. I listen to everybody's input, and, hey, somebody might have a great idea. I adjust it, do it as that. But for the most part, I'm pretty chill. I let people do their thing. I've always been like that. Anybody that's ever worked for me, and I've probably had over the years, I want to say 20 to 25 employees, like in total, from the hip hop website that I had till now doing YouTube. I've had about 20 to 25 employees, and 3 out of those, let's just say 25, because I don't know exact number. Let's just say an even number of 25 that I can. 3 out of those 25 probably went bad. 1, I was really young. I was like 16. Mind you, I've been owning a company since I was like 13, 14 years old. So I fucked up on. That was my fault. I tried to make up and, get things going with him good, but he just never cared to talk to me. And I understand. I've tried to mend that relationship for years and years and years. Doesn't care to ever have a conversation with me. Hey, I respect it. Right now, if I could have a conversation with that guy, I would give him money that is owed to him, because I do owe him money, but he just doesn't want to have a conversation with me. I respect it. This one, the Instagram thing that happened recently, and then I think another one, this was a guy that I basically gave everything to. And this is the thing. I try to help as much as I can in the current situation. This was a guy that used to work for my website, hip hop website. I bought him a brand new laptop because he was struggling to post. He was like, I have an old laptop. It's a little bit tougher for me, blah, blah, blah. So I bought him a brand new laptop. And this guy, literally on New Year's Day, I don't remember what year. It's probably 2014, 13, somewhere around there, 12. Because I knew I was in high school. So it was 2013, 12 to 11. 2011, 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. Because I was still in high school. And the guy because I gave him access to everything. The guy deleted everything off the website and gave access to one of my enemies, one of my competitors, which was an enemy. And yeah, he deleted everything off the website, destroyed my whole thing. I had to rebuild that whole thing from the ground up again. And this is a guy that I bought a laptop for. I paid him good. Did everything right. There's nothing that I've done wrong that I can think of in my mind. But he got tricked by another moron. And it is what it is, man. Shit like that happens. But yeah, I've only had like 3 fallouts out of, let's just say, 25 people. I don't know if exactly 25 people, probably 20. But that's it. 3 out of 25 ain't that bad, man. That's a pretty good percentage in terms of how I am with employees and, just people that I work with. But yeah, I don't know how I got into all this stuff. But Dame Dash, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if he actually manages to sell his stake and actually get some profit or, money to pay off his debt. Vybz Kartel is officially released. Listen, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. I know he's a legendary, I don't know what he makes, Jamaican dance hall music. But there's some stories going around about, why he got locked up in the first place, so on and so forth. So I don't know if we should be celebrating this. I don't know if we should be like, I don't know. Let's go over the article. Vybz Kartel is celebrating his freedom after being released from prison following a 13-year bid for murder. The Jamaican dancehall legend was initially sentenced to life in prison in 2014 for the 2011 murder of Clive Lizard Williams, but his conviction was overturned earlier this year. Vybz, along with his co-defendants, will not face a retrial, Jamaica's Court of Appeal ruled on Wednesday, July 31st. Following his release, the 48-year-old posted a video on Instagram of him partying in a limo with his wife. He also shared a screenshot of a news article about his release and wrote, "Bad mind, how you feel," thinking emoji. Yeah, Drake showed love. Vybz' freedom was also applauded by various figures in hip-hop in the world, most notably Drake. Drizzy celebrated Kartel's release from prison by posting a selfie of himself wearing one of the self-proclaimed King of Dancehall's shirts. He also wrote, "Boss free up now." Nicki Minaj also welcomed Kartel's release, commenting on his Instagram page, "Welcome home." Busta Rhymes did as well. World boss, the world is yours, king. Welcome home. Swizz Beatz, Ty Dolla $ign, Young M.A. also supported. Vybz Kartel murder conviction was overturned earlier this year after it was revealed that one of the jurors who put him in jail had been bribed and therefore should have been removed from the jury. Kartel was not initially freed from prison as the Court of Appeal had yet to rule on whether there would be a retrial. The summertime hitmaker suffered a number of health issues while locked up. In June, Lisa Evers of Fox 5 News spoke to his attorney Lasat Bushtan, who revealed that the cartel needed medical help last year. Vybz Kartel's illness is actually life-threatening, he told longtime New York journalist. His neck was swollen. If you think of a shirt that is about 18.5 inches in the neck area, you couldn't close the collar on his neck, and that's how bad it is in this moment. He continued, his face is actually swollen, and one other thing, he always wears glasses in his condition that causes his eyes to protrude. Kartel was also kept in solitary confinement for up to 23 hours per day, and as attorneys argued, he was being prevented from getting clean air. Wild. Solitary confinement is ridiculous, man. You gotta have a fucking strong mind to deal with that shit. Imagine being locked up in a fucking cell for 23 hours a day, bro. Oof, I give props to anybody that can deal with that, man. If you guys ever seen that show, it's called 60 Days In. I think it's called 60 Days or 90 Days In. Might be 60 or 90. Let me see, man. Yeah, 60 Days In. So basically, it's random people get locked up for 60 days. And this is regular jail, not prison, not full-on prison, just jail. And most of these motherfuckers can't even last. They'll get paid like a good amount of money at the end of the show. I don't know what that amount is. I think it's reported like $50,000. So you stay basically in jail for 60 days for $50,000. And most people can't last, man. There's people that literally go in for like an hour or two and then get out. Yeah, so if regular person, you know, you gotta have a mental, like you have to have a really strong mental to last in jail and in prison. And then mind you, solitary confinement 23 hours a day in a cell is like, I couldn't imagine it, but he did kill a person. So I don't know, man. I don't know the real details of what he did to this lizard guy, but yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if there's anything like new that comes out. Maybe he talks about the case and he says, listen, this is what happened. And you know, I need to look into this because I always wonder why he was locked up, and then people were now celebrating he's free. So I don't know. I don't know what he did. I don't know. He obviously murdered somebody. I don't know what the details of it is, but yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if he does any new interviews or anything. Just talks about his situation. I'm sure he's going to get back in the studio. It's going to be interesting to see if he actually can get back that same, you know, rhythm and sound, because being locked up for 13 years is going to take you off track. I remember when Shine got released, everybody was hyped, and then he recorded his first song and everybody was like, this is donkey shit. His voice had changed. He sounded like this, like it was just horrible, and people were just clowning him. So we'll see if Vybz can pull off coming back to being the dance hall legend that he was. So, yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. As I talked about earlier, 50 Cent has decided to launch his own TV channel. So let's go over our article. 50 Cent has announced the launch of his own TV channel in partnership with Lionsgate. 50 Cent Action will be a free-to-air TV channel supported by advertising and feature films and TV shows from Lionsgate's vast library of projects. 50's Power series will also air on the network, as will over a dozen films starring the rapper and actor, including The Expendables 4. The other 3 films from Sylvester Stallone and Jason Statham's starring action franchise will also be available. 50 Cent's movies and television series are synonymous with nonstop action, and we're thrilled to extend our long-standing partnership into the fast, free ad-supporting streaming space. Lionsgate president of Worldwide Television Distribution, Jim Packer, said in a statement on Thursday, August 1st. 50 said it in his own statement, this channel will bring diverse, action-packed content to audiences everywhere, reflecting my passion for storytelling and providing a platform for fresh, dynamic voices. I look forward to working closely with all the fast platforms to make this a successful channel. I ain't gonna lie, man. The name is ass cheeks. 50 Cent Action is probably one of the worst names you could choose for a channel, but I think he did that just because it's more recognizable. You know, you got 50 Cent in the name. You know, it clarifies, hey, what is this channel about? Action. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect of this. This is like, you know, on Tubi, the streaming platform, you have like all these random channels. That's basically what this is going to be. One of those random channels that you can watch random stuff on, mainly probably 50 Cent related stuff. But I think it would be cool if 50 did something ahead of the curve. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a YouTuber and I'm making content like this, but I think he should, why not hire like YouTubers like me, like anybody else in the hip hop space or anybody in the YouTube world, not just hip hop, that does great short films or documentaries. Why not be ahead of the curve? Who is doing that? Nobody's doing that. So I think that would be something that would like captivate. I just think, here's the thing, guys. I think TV is done in general. So I don't know with these apps and stuff. I don't know if there's actually an audience on there. I think there is because Tubi is still up and it's performing and it's the more and more people are learning about it, more and more people are downloading it. It is a free platform. So I guess on free platforms, it's still there, but paying for actual cable TV is starting to die out. They did a recent study and said MSNBC and ABC and all these channels, their average age of viewership is like in the 60s, which is insane. Basically, only old people are watching these type of channels. Nobody young, new, refreshing that actually gives a fuck. So I don't know. Maybe this is the future where you have these random free channels and then it's paid for by advertisements in between. But I don't know. I think if 50 wants this to be something that stands out, I think he should tap into the newer generation, which is this YouTube stuff, which is TikTok, which is all these other things. Tap into that newer generation and give them a budget to work with. Because if they can, listen, I made the Get Rich or Die Trying documentary solely off my money, and it wasn't really that. It was expensive to me, but when you look at the budgets versus what these big-ass studios do, it's nothing. Literally nothing. To me, it's a lot because it's a lot of money. I don't have that kind of money to just spend and blow around and just do whatever with. I still haven't made the money back from the documentary. We're about to reach 1 million views pretty soon here, but you know, to them it's not that much. Most of these TV shows, if they have a budget of $50,000, if they just put, we can make something really great with that. A lot of the documentaries I made were like with little to no budget. The main one that I spent a lot of money on is the Give Rich or Die Trying one, because you can obviously tell because I went and traveled America and basically interviewed a bunch of people. Other than that, most of my documentaries, the most I've ever spent, because I edit, I do the script, I do everything. But whenever I gave the documentary away for somebody else to edit, which has been very rare, like the King Von one, I gave to for somebody else to edit. The Pop Smoke one, I think I did one of the verses, the Who Really Won. I don't know which one. But yeah, I tried like hiring an editor and basically tried that whole process. And, you know, I spent maybe $3,000 to $5,000 per video, maybe, probably less, probably $3,000 per video. The Get Rich one is like 30 times that, easy. Not 30 times, probably like 20 times that, but a lot more money. That's what I'm saying. So if people can make these insane documentaries on YouTube for a budget of $5,000, maybe $10,000, imagine if 50 hires these people and just gives them a $50,000 budget, which is like 5 times what they're normally used to. They can come up with something astronomical and amazing. So I think 50 should take that route. If I ever get a chance to speak with 50, I will tell him that because that's the future. And you either get with the future or you get left behind. So, but yeah, the channel name is Ass Cheeks, but it is what it is. We'll keep our eyes posted if there's anything new relating to the channel. Before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Golden Eagle for sponsoring this podcast. Yes, if it wasn't for Golden Eagle, this podcast wouldn't be possible. If you're looking for an energy drink that doesn't tear a hole in your pocket, Golden Eagle energy drink is the one you want to get. Golden Eagle has the smoothest taste with no aftertaste. You don't get acid reflux when you drink it, and you will save a lot of money. So check out Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. The link is in the description below. And how do you think this podcast would be possible without me having energy to do it? Come on, guys. You guys got to remember this. I need energy to do this stuff, man, because there's a lot of crazy topics. So look how smooth this thing sounds. Look at it. Oh, my God. It's fresh. Look at that Golden Eagle. Look at the can. It's so beautiful, too, man. Look at that. That's so fresh, man. So fresh. Golden Eagle energy drink. Go to the link description below. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Let's continue the episode. Continuing on with 50, he has officially won the $1 billion Power lawsuit. So we reported on this ages ago where there was a guy that sued 50, Courtney Kemp, Stars, everybody, and basically said that his life story got stolen from him and they made millions off it from Power and they never compensated him. So let's go over the article. 50 Cent has won the $1 billion lawsuit brought by a former drug kingpin over his series Power, according to All Hip Hop. Corey Ghost Holland alleged that 50 stole his life story for the plot of the Stars show. He first filed the $1 billion lawsuit back in 2021, naming co-creator Courtney Kemp, Stars, and Lionsgate in addition to 50 Cent. Holland argued that he detailed his life story in a 2007 CD titled Blasphemy, which he sent to Kemp's father. He had hoped it would help him find a way to legitimately earn a living and get out of the drug trade. Judge Annalisa Torres ended up siding with 50 and ruled that the show never directly refers to Holland as required for a defamation claim. She also said other similarities boiled down to mere coincidences. In another lawsuit, Holland further accused 50 Cent and his associates of harassing and threatening him by showing up and playing a song near his home. Yeah, we talked about that a while ago. After the alleged incident, All Hip Hop obtained a letter from Holland warning 50 Cent to not threaten him again. It reads, "If a motherfucker gets killed because your motherfucking client threatened me and my family, file a motherfucking motion for that. I ain't playing with your client no more. Next time he or anyone he sends pull up, fuck the litigation." Holland ended up losing that case as well, with Torres ruling there is no indication that this conduct constituted a threat, much less than imminent threat of harmful contact, as required for an assault claim. Be on the lookout for further updates on 50 Cent and his other legal trouble. Yeah, 50 reacted to it and basically trolled. Let me see what he said on his Instagram page. Yeah, he posted the article and said, "Fool thought he was a ghost. The fuck wrong with these guys, man? LOL." Yeah. But yeah, good win for him. Because obviously $1 billion is an astronomical amount. That's how you lose these lawsuits. When you ask for an astronomical amount of money, $1 billion, like I don't think, well, maybe all the Power shows may be generated that. And that's not even net revenue. That's just gross. So asking for that amount, you're basically asking for every single penny that was ever generated from Power. And you're not going to get that. You should have sued for like 5, maybe 10 million. And then maybe you could, the judge would probably see something that would probably warrant that. But $1 billion, nah, man, you're not winning that. The more money you ask for, the harder it is to win these cases. It's just that simple. So I bet you if you look to the video, maybe on the old podcast, if you look through those, maybe I called it out and said, listen, $1 billion he's not going to win. I bet you I probably called that out. I could be wrong, but I'm sure I called that out because $1 billion is just an astronomical amount of money that, like you would have to have the most solid evidence that just pinpoints, like you would have 50, he would have to have 50 on a phone call with Courtney Kemp openly saying they stole the idea from him on a phone call and he somehow recorded it and presents it. Like that's how astronomical amount of evidence you would have to have in order to win a $1 billion lawsuit. You'd have to have 50 himself saying, I stole this idea from you, like somehow in a private phone call or something. But obviously that never happened. And whatever he submitted, the judge said, fuck no, this is not enough to win this case. So 51. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if anything else comes out of this situation. Big Sean recently did an interview with Charlamagne the God and talked about his potential beef with Kendrick Lamar. So this is interesting. Let's go over the article. Big Sean was hit with a seemingly unsolicited diss from Kendrick Lamar on a leaked song last year, but he ended up receiving an apology for it afterwards. The Detroit native sat down with Charlamagne the God on Out of Context for an in-depth conversation published on Friday, August 2nd. At one point during the chat, Charlamagne brought up a 2023 leak, which appeared to be an unreleased version of Pandemic from TDE's 2018 Black Panther soundtrack. On the song K-Dat raps, Big Sean keeps sneak dissing, I let it slide. I think his false confidence got him inspired. I can't make them respect you, baby. It's not my job. You finally famous for who you date, not how you rhyme, boy. Sean first explained the backstory, saying that he believes it all started when he did a song called No More Interviews in 2016. On it, he makes a reference to rappers who rhyme fast, and a lot of people at the time speculated that he was talking about Kendrick, though he wasn't. Shortly after, Dot dropped one of the songs in the Heart series, and it sounded like there was a slight at Big Sean. He reached out to Kendrick Lamar via text. The two had a good relationship with, and had even been to each other's houses. But when the number didn't work, he asked TDE's Top Dog if there was smoke, which Sean was told there wasn't. Then Sean says Joe Budden continued to fan the flames of the beef between him and Kendrick to the point that not only was the internet feeding into it, but he and Dot seemed to almost believe it as well. So let's go over the video. I'm about to play it.
I did a song called No More Interviews, where I'm rapping about people rapping fast and blah, blah, blah. And people like, oh, you talking about Kendrick? I'm like, well, I'm not talking about anyone specifically. I'm just talking my shit. At the time, there was a lot of motherfuckers rap. I'm surprised no one thought Eminem or I remember Logic was hot at the MGK, you know, all these other rappers that rap fast. And I'm like, this nigga Kendrick don't even rap fast all the time. Like, it's other people who be rapping fast all the time. But I definitely was like not running from or ducking no type smoke at all. Like, I Decided and Bounce Back and all this stuff. And he was dropping his album, Damn. And I can't remember what freestyle, I guess it was the Hard Part 4.
I don't remember.
5 maybe, something like that. And people were like, oh, he's talking about Big Sean in there, right? So I hit up Top Dog first. I'm like, yo, who he talking about? He's just talking to me, he's just throwing a bone out there. Joe Budden had created this, like, before that, Joe Budden had made this, like, there's a Kendrick Big Sean beef, and to the point where I tried to ignore it, but he made that narrative so fucking real that I think it really did become a thing. So like,
he wasn't all the way wrong though. You said there might have been something in the air.
Well, yeah, because I'm getting to the point where me and Kendrick talk.
Okay.
So I get to the point where I'm like, damn, do we got something going on? That's why I had something prepared, right? And then when I run into Dave Free, and he's like, nah, bro, it ain't nothing. Like, it's all love. He said something like that wasn't directly towards you. It was for anyone, you know? Okay. So then Nipsey dies. And I sit on the plane next to Punch. Random as hell. We're headed to J. Cole's festival. And he's like, you ever talk to Kendrick? And I'm like, no, I never. I know it ain't shit there. But no, we never really spoke. Then around that time, like that day or maybe the day before that or the week or day within that same time period, that leaked shit happened. It was a leaked verse. And it said what you said.
Yep.
I'm like, damn, nigga, y'all motherfuckers said it wasn't shit and it was something. So you got me looking crazy.
But maybe he prepared something just like the same way you was thinking. He was like, you know, let me get my nukes just in case too.
Right, but the thing is that song came out and he changed that bar, right? So that wasn't on the song anymore. It was a leaked verse. So I had to keep that in mind because I was pissed when I heard it. So then I'm like, okay, he changed that on his own. So he probably came to the conclusion that it was nothing. So then then me and him talk. And I got the text on my phone. He apologized in a sense for going that far, you know, and for that shit coming out, right? Yeah. So I wanted to show you that because in a sense he apologized, right?
Yeah.
So if Kendrick apologized for that same leak that I heard prematurely, right, that he didn't use, it's like, then it leaks fully later, right, and people hear it, and we already discussed it. And he said, appreciate the shout out on the Nipsey song. I already addressed it on the song with Nip. Lack of communication and wrong information for people fueled by the ego is like mixing flames with diesel.
That's what he said to you in the...
No, that's what I said on a song with Nipsey.
Oh, I know, but in the text it sounded like he kind of said the same thing.
Yeah, that's why I said it in the song. Because in that text he said, yo, you know, my ego, da-da-da. So it's like, when that shit leaks, it's like, people are like, oh, you heard what he said about you? I'm like, nigga, I'm not a clout chasing ass nigga, bro. I'm solid and I stand on mine and I'm not about to do something because everyone thinks a certain thing. Like, we already talked about it. I already got an apology for it.
And your shirt right now says, I do not care about their opinions.
Yeah,
so why would you care about the opinions of other people if you know what it is between you and Dot?
Exactly. And that's what it's been. You know, I ain't really had too much communication with him since then. And, you know, but I just want to I represent a lot of people from my city, from where I come from, fans of mine, who think I didn't stand on my shit. And that's not the case. And that's what I want to clarify. I wasn't being a bitch nigga or like tucking my tail or nothing like that. And if it was real smoke, if it was really something to stand on, I would be full front. I would be there front and center for it. And I would be prepared. You know what I'm saying? But it's not. And people want to make something that is not. So that's something that I never really got a chance to clarify. And, you know, to me, it's better to be about business and to be authentic. And like, if there's literally not a problem there, then I'm not about to feed into no narrative that isn't true, that I know isn't true.
Okay, so it's a long clip. I'm probably not going to be able to play the full thing because copyright is just going to destroy me. But the gist of it is Charlamagne goes down the history a little bit about, hey, this track, was this a diss track, blah, blah, blah. Him and Kendrick Lamar talked through text after the song leaked, that leaked song that was dissing Big Sean. Obviously, Kendrick Lamar changed the verse later when the song officially came out, but the leaked version was him taking shots at Big Sean. They talked in text message, and they've basically squashed the beef ever since. Charlamagne, then, just to add more fuel to the fire, which most interviewers do, said, hey, it's maybe a good situation that you never got into with Kendrick Lamar because look what he did to Drake. And you probably wouldn't want that smoke. And Big Sean was like, listen, I'm ready for whatever, but he's like, you know, it is what it is. I'm not really chasing it, blah, blah, blah. So all this to me shows, and this to me proves, is media and fans hype this stuff up more than what it's supposed to be. Way more than what it's supposed to be. And we do that because we want entertainment. We want to see the best of the best go at it. I mean, what was more entertaining than Drake and Kendrick Lamar this year going at it? There's nothing you can name in hip-hop. It was the focal point of everything for the past 2 months, and still people are talking about it. Still people haven't gotten over what's happened with this battle. People are still speculating that maybe Drake's going to respond again and Kendrick's going to respond again. They're going to have subliminals. They're going to do this and that. So clearly people love it. But fans hype it all up, and fans make it worse than what it actually is. And Big Sean basically said, listen, I didn't let the outside noise get to me. I talked directly to Kendrick Lamar. He said everything's cool, so everything's cool. Now, in the public, obviously, people are going to look at Big Sean and be like, you're a sucker. You know, you let Kendrick Lamar clown you and trick you into thinking that everything's cool when it's not really because he leaked, quote unquote, this track and blah, 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 blah. But Big Sean is more content in who he is as a person and says, listen, if it's not a situation, it's not. But he did say he had a plan figured out that if Kendrick Lamar went in on him, he would have something ready to go. So that's probably what happened with Kendrick is he recorded this track thinking that there was something going on because Big Sean dropped the No More Interviews track, and people were speculating that was shots at Kendrick Lamar when Big Sean said it wasn't. You know, he was just made a rapping bar. He made a bar talking about rappers that rap fast, and people just speculated it was against Kendrick. When Big Sean in the interview says, hey, it could have been against Eminem, it could have been against Logic, anybody that's rapping fast at the moment could have went against. So he's like, it's not specifically anybody. He was just clowning people that rap fast. So, yeah, what this all this tells me is, you know, fans speculate and people overhype things. Even me, I'll talk about a certain situation, and I might reach, man. I might reach for the fucking stars on some things. It is what it is. It's just speculation, like the Eminem and Jay-Z line where he talks about Empire State Building and he's the best rapper. You know, I reached and said basically it was a diss towards Jay-Z. A lot of people on the internet did that. Royce the 5'9" basically spoke for Eminem and said, nah, hell no, it's not a diss towards Jay-Z. You know, who knows? Maybe Jay-Z takes it differently. Maybe down the line he releases a new verse and disses Eminem and says, you know, I like Skittles better than M&M's. Who knows? It might be a subliminal like that because Jay-Z's a sucker and will subliminally diss people instead of actually go at him. So you might mention something about Skittles and how I like the rainbow better versus, you know, M&M's. I don't know. Regardless, you know, people reach, and that's just the media world. People will reach and overhype things just for views, click, blah, 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 blah. Have I done it a few times? Yeah, here and there I will overreach, but most of the time, probably 90 to 95% of the time, I'm chill. I don't overreach on things. But those overreaches are me really believing that that's what it is. I don't overreach just for views. I'll reach thinking that that's what it actually is. And I do think Eminem still dissed him, regardless of what Royce the 5'9" said. I do think Eminem actually took shots at Jay-Z. Because ever since Renegade, I think there's been a little bit of like back and forth, and people have always put Jay-Z and Eminem together and who's had the longer career, who's been better longevity, blah, 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 blah. But that's a whole different story and a whole different thing. Continuing on Drake, speaking of this Kendrick, Drake, Big Sean stuff, Drake, there's been rumors that Drake is working on an album. Now, I want to talk about this because there is a chance Drake could come out with something pure hip-hop that literally sways people's... If anybody's minds have changed throughout this Drake and Kendrick beef, which I doubt. I think Kendrick fans are Kendrick fans and Drake fans are Drake fans, and nobody really changed their mind on who they're fans of, in my opinion. I would love to know somebody that was like a former Drake fan that went to a Kendrick fan, and that was like a former Kendrick fan that went to a Drake fan. I doubt that happened in this battle. But, a lot of people are speculating that Drake has kind of lost his touch when it comes to music because of what Kendrick did. So naturally, there's going to be a lot of eyes on whenever Drake decides to release an album. There's going to be a lot of eyes on that. A lot of people are going to want to listen for subliminal disses, for what has he got coming. And currently, there's been a lot of rumors on what Drake is working on, basically. Let's go over this article. Drake is reportedly working on a new project with the Griselda-affiliated producer, Conductor Williams. And it could drop sooner than people think. The news was shared on Wednesday, July 31st by Hot 97's Ebro Darden, who said Drake is dropping a project at some point this year. That's the rumor. With co-host Laura Stiles adding, I heard that it's coming sooner than we think. Peter Rosenberg then climbed in and said, I also heard he has a whole project worth of music done with Conductor Williams, which is very hip-hop-y. He previously collaborated with Williams on his 2023 album For All the Dogs and the It's Scary Hours Edition Deluxe, with the Kansas producer providing the boom bap sound bed for 8 a.m. in Charlotte and Stories About My Brother. Now, if Drake decides to go the old school boom bap hip hop route, I think that will save his career in terms of people in hip hop respecting him. Because I think a lot of people have lost respect for him in hip hop, like the hip hop heads like us that listen to hip hop every day, that consume hip hop every day, that know about hip hop, that enjoy hip hop. But if Drake decides to go the route of releasing an album that is mainly this type of style, he will sell a lot less. He will not sell astronomical amount of numbers. And we've talked about this before. That if Drake does the hip-hop rap route, he won't sell as much. He'll probably sell 200,000, 250,000 first week. Maybe not even get a number one hit. But if there's bars like 8 a.m. in Charlotte and all these timestamp tracks that he has, hard bars in there, it will regain the respect of hip-hop heads a lot more. Because we know Drake is capable of hip-hop records. He's just so multi-talented and has such a big, wide array of audience and listeners and fans that he's got to cater to everybody. He's got to deliver the R&B smooth records. He's got to deliver the pop records. He's got to deliver the hip-hop sounds. He's got to deliver different styles of dance hall, whatever the fuck he's into at that moment. He has to deliver mixtures of records to please everybody. And at this point in his career, it's very hard to please everybody when a new album comes out. Because you got fans that are fans of Take Care. You got fans that are fans of just Nothing Was the Same. You got fans that are fans of Views and all these Scorpion and all these albums. It's very hard to please everybody. So I think if I was in Drake's shoes, I would just deliver a straight hip-hop album. I wouldn't care about the numbers because I've already proved my point numbers. I'm one of the most streamed hip-hop artists of all time and music entertainers of all time. I've done millions and millions of copies. I've had number ones, astronomical number ones over and over again. I've done everything in terms of streams and numbers. I wouldn't care about that. I would just release a project that is straight hip-hop that I love. But yeah, that's the rumor. But then Drake kind of shut down that rumor. So PnD, a.k.a. PartyNextDoor, who's Drake's artist, had a concert at Toronto's Budweiser stage on Friday, August 2nd. And Drake surprised people. And Drake said this, I know all you girls are outside, and when it gets chilly, PartyNextDoor and a Drake album will be right there for you. So is he announcing that maybe he instead might have a collab album with PartyNextDoor? I don't know. I wouldn't want that. I would rather like a Drake album that's more hip-hop-y, but hey, if that's it's in the cards for Drake, then it is what it is. Or maybe that's just something that he's going to do down the line just for fun. Or maybe he just said that out of nowhere, out of the blue. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But one thing I do know is Drake is going to drop something pretty soon here. I'm sure we're going to get. I've been hearing for like the past 2 months, Drake's got something cooking. So I think before this year is over, we get something from Drake again, which is unfortunate. I think he should take a break. But after this Kendrick thing, I think he does need to drop at least an album to kind of solidify that, hey, Kendrick didn't do anything to me. He didn't get me out of this music industry. I'm still here. I can still deliver music, and I can still deliver, doing what I do. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if anything happens moving forward. In line with everything Drake and Kendrick Lamar, DJ Mustard. He dropped his album and got clowned for the amount of sales he did first week. So let's go over the article. Mustard has plenty of opinions surrounding the stats on his new album, Faith of a Mustard Seed, and he dragged Drake and academics into the mix when sharing them. On Friday, August 2nd, the producer took to X to discuss the response to the project. He began by saying he was beyond grateful for his reported first week sales of 18,000 sales equivalent units. Just hours later, though, he changed his tune. So let's go over. Drake is the Malcolm X of white people. And academics, make sure you post Gordo season first week, since Drake thought he did a thing with making him drop on the same day as me. Gordo is that new track that he did with, and then Gordo dropped his album. These Drake bots are the nation of Drizzlam. That's hilarious. The bots are trying to fade me. I'm not mad. I'm at my son's basketball game. They was hooping, and they just won. I figured I'd fade some bots. I'm still grateful. A bot could never make me ungrateful. LOL, fuck y'all thought. So basically, fans were saying they were clowning him on the first week sales, which DJ Mustard never had insane first week sales. But the thing that they were clowning DJ Mustard on is that Kendrick Lamar used him for a beat for Not Like Us, and then when DJ Mustard dropped his album, there was no feature verse from Kendrick Lamar on the album. So people were saying he was a culture vulture. He just used DJ Mustard for a beat, and that's it. But you got to think of it the other way around, too. In the midst of a battle, somebody decides to use you as a producer. That's a huge cosign. Be honest, guys. Was DJ Mustard popping before this Not Like Us record? No. Nobody was checking for DJ Mustard beats anymore for a long time. So Kendrick Lamar did him a favor by saying, hey, I'm going to keep it West Coast, and I'm going to choose a producer that I want to produce, or that I want to choose, and boom, he chose DJ Mustard. Represent him. So I think Drake stands, not the fans, because normal fans aren't having these conversations. They're insane stands. Don't really have a point here. Does Kendrick Lamar owe DJ Mustard a verse? No. The fact that Kendrick even used his beat is a huge cosign, and I'm sure helped DJ Mustard's pockets, because that song is still doing insane numbers on the charts. It's still number 3 on the charts. It's been in the top 10 for a long time, man. And it's breaking streaming records day in and day out. So Kendrick really did a huge favor for DJ Mustard. But DJ Mustard, isn't feeding into the bullshit. He's just responding to the trolls, which I don't think he should do, because it's like, hey, man, people are going to clown and talk shit and do whatever they want to do. Let's see the replies on some of this stuff, just because I'm sure it's going to be insane. DJ Mustard mad his album went paper plate. Guys crashing out because his album flopped. Now trying to tweet at Drake, who also gave you your biggest produced song of your 3-year same beat run. Fat ass, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so basically people are clown. All Drake, by the way, all these people in the replies and the top ones, I see them on Twitter dick riding Drake all day. You got Los Polos TV. This guy's the ultimate dick sucker of Drake. Like, this guy, nothing, anything that Drake does is perfect. I don't care what you guys say about me when it comes to 50 Cent, right? I do say he's had music that's been trash. He's had albums that I didn't really enjoy. Animal Ambition is one of them. And he's dropped singles that are just ass cheeks. I'm On It is one of the worst hip-hop songs, or whatever you want to call them, ever, and that's released by 50 Cent. So I've criticized 50 a lot. I don't just sit here and praise everything this guy's ever done. But some of these guys, oh my God, they praise everything that Drake has done, and that's what I call stans. I think those are stans that just praise everything that person has done, no matter what, and thinks that everything they've done is perfect. But, it's unfortunate Mustard fell for the stands, but it is what it is. He shouldn't let the first week sales, dictate anything. In today's time, there used to be albums that would do poor. Back in like the 90s and 2000s, there would be albums that would do poor first week. That wouldn't do well first week. Here's a good example. Chameleonaire's Sound of Revenge album. This album did like 100,000 first week, which is, not bad, right? 100,000 first week, you would be like, hey, that's pretty good numbers. But back then, that was actually, believe it or not, frowned upon. If you did 100,000, you were like not really doing much numbers. And fun fact about this, on Wikipedia, I actually edited the first week sales of this album because motherfuckers got the shit wrong. But it debuted at number 10, which is me, I edited this, and selling 130,000 copies in its first week. Which could be viewed as a fail, right? A lot of people will be like, listen, 130,000, that's not much. But Chamillionaire pushed this album, kept pushing it, and eventually went on to sell over 3 million copies in total. So you can turn a first week sale into something successful. 3 million copies is not easy to do, man. Even back then, selling 3 million, let's not get spoiled by Eminem and 50 and these artists that were doing insane numbers. Most artists were doing gold, and if they got lucky, platinum. That's why Eminem said in his career he wished if he could just go gold, he would be happy. Most artists were going gold, maybe platinum, and that's it. Anybody else doing double platinum, triple platinum, and whatever, you were doing astronomical numbers, and you were on a different level. So Chamillionaire pushed that. Another thing is another example is Fetty Wap, Trap Queen. He pushed that song until it went number 1, man. So you can push these things, and you can still market and move this. It's not like it's an ultimate flop. I don't think DJ Mustard should see it as that. I haven't heard the album. I haven't even heard Kanye's album, which we'll talk about new music here right now. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if anything comes out of this. And I hope DJ Mustard, you push the album, because don't let the first week sales dictate the success of this. Continue on, New Music Friday. Let's get into it. Nav dropped 6 a.m. Thoughts and Rexdale. Khalid dropped Sincere, the album. A$AP Rocky dropped Hijack. Big Sean dropped On Up. Polo G and Lil Durk dropped We Shoot. Mike Will made it, and Lil Wayne and Lil Yachty dropped Higher. Tay B and Lil Baby dropped All 10. Lil TJ dropped Took a While. Wiz Khalifa, Baby Girl on the Way. Jenny Aiko, Guidance, YG, Love Make, Saweetie, My Best. Yeah, that's it for songs and album releases. And then we had the Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign Vultures 2, which dropped at a random time. I haven't listened to the album. I will be reviewing it, though. I have heard, I think, 2 tracks off it. They've been all right, so I don't know what to expect. I've seen mixed reviews on social media, but I never let social media dictate what I think is good or not. There's been plenty of times where I've enjoyed albums and social media has hated it, so I never let that dictate. But I've seen mixed reviews on it. But yeah, I'll listen to it, maybe review it on Thursday's episode, or maybe the following Monday's episode, because I don't know. My schedule with this documentary has been hectic, so I haven't really listened to anything outside of Tupac and Bad Boy and whatever the hell. But yeah, album sales. Let's get into it. Taylor Swift, The Tortured Poets, is back to number 1 with 72,000 sold. I don't know what other version of the album she released to get back up on the charts, but Morgan Wallen's at number 2 with One Thing at a Time with 64,000 sold. Zach Bryan, The Great American Bar Scene, is at number 3 with 63,000 sold. Chappelle Ronan, The Rise and Fall of Midwest Princess, is number 4 with 54,000 sold. Number 5, Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft at 52,000 sold. Eminem, The Death of Slim Shady, is at number 6 with 50,000 sold. Stray Kids 8 is at number 7 with 49,000 sold. Twisters, the album soundtrack, is at number 8 with 45,000 sold. Charlie XCX Brat is at number 9 with 41,000 sold. Number 10, Noah Khan, Stick Season, 39,000 sold. Going down the list, SZA SOS, number 15 with 30,000 sold. Future Metro Boomin, We Don't Trust You, number 20 with 26,000 sold. Going down the list, Ice Spice's album debuted at number 34 with 19,000 sold first week. Travis Scott, Utopia, number 38 with 19,000 sold. Mustard, Faith of a Mustard Seed, which is the DJ Mustard album, sold, debuted at number 40 with 18,268 sold. That's not too bad. Eminem, Curtain Call, is at number 41 with 18,000 sold. Kendrick Lamar, Damn, is at number 47 with 17,000 sold. And that's it for album sales. And that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, powered by the one and only Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Get your Golden Eagle Energy Drinks at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. They sponsored all season 4 of the podcast, so show them love for showing us love. Stream us, Spotify, Deezer, Pocket Cast, YouTube. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.